Okay, here we go. Dorado for match one. What are the defenders running? Well, defenders running nothing overly exciting so far. Still that solo Mercy support. And then Fate, Kareev, and Space for the tank core. Agilities in soon. The command does work. It's just other people have spammed it. It's on a 30-second timer. I saw it. Yeah, it was 7. Yeah, it was up there. There it is. Just got posted again. Okay. Now, the interesting thing to me here is going to be whether or not the London Spitfire... So the London Spitfire, every time we've kind of seen this heavier tank core on the attack, they've actually tried to transition up through the courtyard on the left side instead of going through the main choke. And with Los Angeles Valiant, with the LA Valiant's stronger tank core on defense as well, I would expect them to actually move to match. Now, Hanzo's positioning from Prophet on the bridge implies to me that this is going to be the setup that they're going with. So Prophet's going to be kind of like mid-right-ish area, whereas you are seeing the tank core transitioning to that stairwell. They are following the script to a T so far. Just getting into position. I'm not sure where Birdering is going to move around, whether he's going to kind of go for apartments or something like that. But, oh, halt hook right off the start. Trading for Custa. We're seeing shades of New York here, whereas the first kill of the game was Arc, but this time the first kill of the game is Custa. And that's going to open things wide open. How he did not realize that they were coming from that direction. Great heads-up play there from Gesture to realize Custa was there and land the halt on him for a very, very simple first point Dorado. So, you know what? They followed the script and they found Custa, and that's all it really takes. Unfortunate that the Valiant weren't able to react to that properly, and they didn't move over towards the stairs enough in order to actually contest them earlier, but it happens. So far we actually haven't spent very much time on the first point on Dorado, regardless of what series it's been, but immediately after this, London Spitfire swapping onto the dive before they even take the first fight, and Gesture moving over to Ivy, making sure there's nothing there, and then just kind of taking that catwalk as there's an early engagement from Fate in space. The Dragon is already coming out from Prophet, trying to clear things off, and Fate does get taken out by Fury. Space is on the low ground, and he's discorded, which means that Fury can chase if he wants to, but decides not to, because Kareev and Custa are both there. Prophet is moving up, uses the Storm out to try and burn Space out of his mech. If they get him out here, it'll be a huge advantage here. And then Birdring finds agilities, whereas Prophet gets Custa, and Valiant is pushed even farther back. With Space being staggered here, are they going to even have a second contest on second phase? Or are we going to see two phases with a singular fight on them? That could be absolutely disastrous for the Los Angeles Valiant's initial times here. If you're trying to catch up with the actual time here, 4:03, 2, 1, 0. They are going to get a recontest here. However, Birdering already pops up Kareev, who, approaching the end of the second, is only at 72% to his Transcendence. Kareev has had a little bit of problem with his rotations and finding good positions, especially on this Dorado map before. And with him dropping, Custa's Valkyrie is not enough to stop London Spitfire's pretty monstrous snowball here, in the fact that they're entering into the third point with not only more than 5 minutes on the clock, but 5 ultimates in the bank. To Los Angeles Valiant's singular ultimate, and that singular ultimate being Infrasight, I don't think it's really going to help them that much in this initial phase here. Soon is controlling the left side. Birdring there to match, though. Is he going to grapple up aggressively? Probably is with the space. Holy shit, that was a beautiful shot. Birdring does find the shot onto Soon as Gesture jumped in with Primal trying to make that space, and you're just going to be seeing Bedosin here pushing the card, as then they realize they have such an advantage, they move back to get 3 on, and then Gesture moves to control the far left side to make sure that nobody can be as kind of like a sneaky recontest, or that well, they've swapped off of the Widow here from the sides of the Los Angeles Valiant, and they've gone over to the full dive, so they're not even playing around with snipers anymore. Agilities is pretty close to that blade, and Bedosin just pulls out his Transcendence to shut that down completely. They're using the cover of that Transcendence to land a res onto Prophet, which brings him back up, and then Gesture once again takes out Custa, and then the Mech of Space. So the problem, one of the main problems for the Los Angeles Valiant during the initial game between London Spitfire and them was indeed Custa's survivability in general, as well as Kareev's, I suppose, positional errors. And so far, at the start of this match, we're seeing those same errors rear their ugly head once more. Dragon comes out from the far side, up through the floor. Soon, do people just, like, not realize he's there? Gestures at 1. Oh, he is getting healed up. He's going to take to the skies just to make sure he can stay alive. Come back down on Agilities, who has already used his dash, so he can't quite escape. Oh, the Harmony Orb keeps him alive just long enough in order to get to that Mega, but he gets taken out with the assistance of Prophet. With Agilities dropping, Fate is going into that, but the entire London Spitfire is still there. Prophet and Nuss do get taken out there, but that was a sketchy fight as the Valiant just barely are able to hold on to this point here. That could have been beyond disastrous, you know, a moderate calamity, if you will, had that capture come out. London Spitfire swapping out once more. They're going onto the Brigida and the Hanzo here. Brigida, of course, will be a very hard counter towards Agility's Genji, so I'd be looking to see Agility swap off the Genji and likely onto something like a Hanzo. But so far, he's staying on the Genji blade. Hopefully, he does get more luck out of that blade than, say, New York on Eichenwald, but to be seen, I suppose, especially with Kariv having that Transcendence. On the upside, just popping the blade itself can be a pretty easy way to force a Transcendence out if Kariv deems it necessary, but we'll have to see as they are just poking. Noose is going to be the first one to activate the Valkyrie to start this fight off, but so far the Valkyrie isn't prompting action as it normally would. Agility still under pressure, but nope, he is going to pull a New York. Okay, so he's taken out, and then Brigida not only going to be taking out Fate, but also Space. You know, I just don't think that the blade gets enough value, even with Brigida. With Brigida on the field, I don't think that the Dragon Blade gets enough value to warrant staying on over simply swapping to something that easier counter against the Brigida. And especially with them running Hanzo and Brigida, it's entirely reasonable that you could play something projectile that isn't a Hanzo like a Pharah. You know, it's not Pharah's greatest map here, but it's still a reasonable decision here. However, Agilities, I'm going to sneeze. Agilities was able to counter the aggression of Prophet. This was about like 20 or 25 seconds ago. I'm just catching up to the stream of thought here. But Prophet was overly aggressive, actively shield bashed into Agilities, and then Kariv landed Discord on him. So with Prophet using that shield bash so aggressively, he got himself very dramatically overextended, got Discord, and counter-stunned. So Prophet's error there was probably the one that caused London Spitfire to be unable to capture this point of Dorado, is that they lost that huge advantage on the ground here. But, you know, with these mirror matchups of the Hanzo and the Brigida, the the Los Angeles Valiant certainly are going to be at more of an advantage than they were. Bdosin in trouble here. They're trying to force Fate off. They do manage to force Fate to just bugger off, but the Storm Arrow is out. Space and Fate are both low here. There's the Dragon. It's countered by the air Dragon of the Valiant. But Birdring also has his Dragon. Is he going to pop it onto their cart? He is, absolutely. However, again, Dragon for Trance for Dragon, both ways. Bdosin managing to take out Fate as Fate once again going deep and getting punished by the Brigida of Prophet this time. He's playing a little bit farther back, hoping to not get extended. But Kariv again answering back in the same way that Bdosin did with the kill onto Jester. And then Space's bomb is finding Birdring. Space being the last one, or he's in mech. Prophet is going to take him out. Fate's in Primal here, trying to take out Nuss, who just barely gets away. The bomb, is it going to catch Fate? No, but it catches Custa. Custa was behind the payload, but I'm not sure if he was booped or just an error in his own positioning, but he was taken out as we're approaching overtime. Only 5 seconds left here. Fate is... Fate gets taken out. Agilities wasn't quite able to touch there. And my goodness, Custa is... Custa just can't stay alive this game. Goodness gracious me. But it is a full cap, so we're going to have to see if the Los Angeles Valiant have a little bit of a better attack than they did defense. Because, you know, this is kind of the same thing that we saw with the New York game there, but where first and second point went pretty fast. Not as fast as it did here, but then the third point involved the majority of the stall. What notifications are you hearing? You guys are actually hearing notifications? I don't even hear any notifications. What notifications are you hearing? Oh. Sorry. I did not realize notifications were on. For some reason, I can't hear them. Strange. Sub notifications are off, chat. Thanks for pointing it out. I have those turned off now. How do some people hear them and some people don't hear them? How is that even possible? Either way, the notifications are off. But yeah, I can't, like, they're off to me. Strange. Very strange. Okay, defense from the London Spitfire here. Same defense that we saw from the Los Angeles Valiant. Hopefully it means that Nuss can... Or hopefully it doesn't mean that Nuss is also going to be the first one to actually die here. But the Los Angeles Valiant, instead of running that 3 tank, they are going to stay with the standard Mercy Zenyatta and then a Rein Zarya. So this composition here with the Rein Zarya instead of the actual Orisa and the Diva... usually means that you're going to want to be very aggressive onto the tank core here. So with agilities here on the left side instead of the bridge or the right side, it does imply that Space and Fate are going to be taking it up the very center of through the main choke and then going aggressive on top of Gesture and Gesture, Bidossin, and Fury here. The initial halt from Gesture doesn't find anything, and here you can see Fate and Space moving in here, but Fate's shield cracking and then getting punished. Custa being able to res him back up, but now Space is low, and the Storm Arrow of Prophet punishes him. Gesture's in trouble, especially with his gold running out, but his shield placed just enough in time to keep him alive, as both of the snipers from the Los Angeles Valiant are being forced to back off here. With the so just huge amounts of shield break between Gesture, Fury, and Bidossin all being able to contribute to breaking Fate's shield on top of course, Prophet and Birdring, if they so choose to assist with that shield break. Fate really can't engage that easily if he wastes just a couple of seconds trying to close that distance. Prophet takes out soon the Dragon coming out from agility, so he did get quite a bit of value, and he catches Prophet somehow off screen, so we don't get to see how that exactly happened here. But Fate using the payload and the fountain as much as he can to try and walk through Gesture shields and apply a lot of pressure. They forced them into apartments, and Fate's right up and close and personal with Gesture, where Gesture does not want to be, but Bidossin with the flank kill onto agilities is rezzed back up by Custa. Here comes the bomb. Fury gets punished for that bomb, which means that it's a pretty big advantage to the Valiant here. And Hammer is online. Gesture still in that corner. He doesn't like the distance that he is able to close with Fate. And then the Graviton from Space is going to be able to close things off here. So, wasn't one attack. It was 2, but still a pretty respectable time as we're moving into second phase. Fate with that hammer, it'll be interesting to see if they do decide to take a first fight with that hammer or if they immediately switch on to dive, which is undeniably the stronger composition on Dorado second with the existence of Ivy and simply the parallel high grounds on the second half of Dorado. But it looks like... Is he swapping or staying? He's staying on, so he is electing to use this hammer, and one of the big advantages of having this hammer against the dive comp is that as soon as that Winston bubble is down, Fate gets one hammer of his choosing. Whenever he wants. It's even if they, you may not agree with that. Graviton on the first point, I see the comments in chat there, but on the upside, Space was going to swap off Zarya if he had Grav or not. So may as well be super aggressive with it to just clean up that fight and make sure they have it. Oh no, Soon is being caught out and just chased down by both the tanks. Gesture's like, come here. But Agilities takes out Prophet. And where is Soon that he is still alive? How on earth is Soon still alive? Wow. Soon played Ring Around the Rosie and must have lost Gesture in the chaos here. Fate still with that hammer, still gets his choice. Is he going to use it on Fury here? He could. No, instead he's going to go for the charge. Misses going into bank here. Not being as effective as he possibly could, but that big hammer cleave is going to kind of prevent people from wanting to get anywhere close to him and makes him a pretty effective peel against the squishier snipers and supports on the card itself. In this area, it's certainly going to be very useful in order to prevent that stall if the London Spitfire even elect to go for the recontest, which it doesn't appear they are. Payload just uncontested, rolling into the third point here. It's not 5 minutes, but it is 4, very respectable. And with only 4 seconds on the clock for the London Spitfire, the Los Angeles Valiant, despite the horrendous showing on their defense, have the option to turn things around. They also have the nice combo of the hammer and the Diva Bomb if they'd elect to combos those. Custa is in Valkyrie, and then Kareev has Transcendence online as well in order to keep him alive. The hammer finally does come out. It finds one, but Transcendence comes back out to keep them alive. Jester is trying to push in on agilities here, but gets pinned. Fate's in trouble, not enough healing to keep him up, and that's going to be a reset for the Los Angeles Valiant as both Custa and agilities retreat back to the spawn room. I would expect to see the swap onto dive here, and as I say that, as soon as staying on the Tracer, Birdring swapping onto the Pharah. That is what I had recommended the Los Angeles Valiant to run on the defense here. However, soon still on this Tracer. That is certainly not what I had expected. And if this was the case, that they were going to stay on the Tracer, it also surprises me why London Spitfire wouldn't immediately swap onto a Brigitte or something. But here we are seeing the Widow swap onto Soon, or Widow swap from Soon, which is probably going to prompt Birdring to immediately swap off and go back onto Widowmaker. So there is kind of this like mind game between how long you stay in spawn, how long you kind of guarantee that you are going to change. Ooh, very nicely placed bomb takes out Gesture, and then Fate finds Nuss as well off screen here. Okay, Birdring back into the spawn room. Is he going to do another swap here? I don't think he is. He is, yes. So he is going onto the Hanzo. So we're not quite on mirror matches here. We're still in Brig Dive, but the defenders are running with the Hanzo and the attackers are running with the Widowmaker. So unless Soon finds head, this is going to be a slight advantage to the London Spitfire. However, Kriv is starting this fight out right with the Transcendence. He's about to come out of there. Space gets taken out by Prophet off screen again. I didn't see. And then Fury takes out Soon. So with Soon down, this fight should definitely flow in the direction of the London Spitfire, with Kriv having that Transcendence for insurance. Okay, Fury finding Fate, and then Birding just with a cleanup shot on Kriv. That's very nice as well. The Valiant are coming up on their Transcendence, and that is going to be their first ultimate to come online, which they will probably see them use very aggressively in order to get both their Rally and Fate's Primal, at the very least, online. On the defense, Jester had to use his Primal here, but Fury still has Bomb, so he can play pretty aggressively, and Bedosin as well has that Transcendence, which he would probably want to use after Fury has used his Bomb, if at all possible, but not always, it's not always practical in order to organize these things as good as possible. Now, here we are seeing Jester dive in, covered by the bomb itself. It is once again going to take out Custa, and Jester's going to be jumping back out. That's going to be absolutely great that he escaped. It's going to give a ton of ult charge onto Nuss there, as Agility's Rally has been used, and they're backing off here. So, Custa's Valkyrie did manage to get them Rally. The Rally, however, wasn't useful, and Fate gets his Primal online, but Space still has about 20% to go. We're at the fact that with 55 seconds remaining in the fight right here, and the ultimate advantage is in favor of the London Spitfire, and not just by a little bit, quite significantly here. We're going to have to get a lot of value out of Kariv's Transcendence. However, with Agilities down, this needs to be an immediate reset. Fate kind of wanting to jump out here. Are they going to chase that? I don't think they can punish. They're going to chase, but Jester just wants Primal here. He doesn't really want to kill. Well, he wants to kill Fate, but he can't really. So, this is definitely the last fight here. Thankfully, Kariv does have Transcendence, as well as both tank ultimates. So if the Los Angeles Valiant want to win this very drawn, oh no, soon going down, they're still going to be able to get the last fight here. Well, maybe not with the Gesture getting agilities here. What? Space getting Birdring and Nuss. This game was absolutely won until Space lands that bomb, and he's got to move to touch here. Oh, never mind. It's going to be Fate on the point touching. Now, with both tank ultimates out, and then Kriv using the Transcendence to keep things alive, the Los Angeles Valiant have the momentum. Fate's bubble is already out, and Fury's bomb getting launched takes out Kriv. And then Prophet as well takes out Fate after he came out of Primal. Space's Discord, he's going to fall in short order, and Agilities is back on the Pharah, and Birdring has moved to match here. Valkyrie's out from the side of Nuss, and Custa isn't quite there yet. They're going to be on the payload. Nobody's on the payload right now. Can anybody touch? And they can't. So it's the first point to the London Spitfire. Can you change your vote? Oh, man. I love the Los Angeles Valiant. I love Fate. Like, Gesture's very good. Gesture's probably one of the best, if not the best tank in the league right now. But Fate and Space have still been very impressive. Despite, despite. I don't know. Is London going to take this series? How do you feel about OG? OG's a fantastic tank player. OG's an absolutely fantastic tank player. Oasis. Oasis should be fun. I wonder if any team is going to run goats or this single heal Orisa shit. I hope we see dive here. London Spitfire showing Sombra. I would be shocked. Oh, are they going to go for like the Korean, one of the Korean strategies? One of the Korean compositions that is popular in Korean contenders right now is like Lucio, Brigida, Soldier, Winston, and even sometimes Doomfist. It's very interesting. So I wonder if London Spitfire probably isn't going to run it, but one can hope. One can hope. Okay, what are we seeing here? Widow Brig dive for the Valiant. What in the fuck? Excuse me. So, London Spitfire running triple DPS Lucio Brigida Winston. So this is a variant, a very strange variant of the Korean contenders composition. I was not expecting the Reaper. So triple DPS, and each one of the DPS have some sort of survivability, whether it's Wraith Form, Biotic, or Recall. Now, Soon finds Prophet in the head. There's nothing that you can survive from there. And looks like they're going to be hiding inside of Gazebo in order to rush onto their opponents. Birdring getting sped directly onto Fate takes him off in 3 shots. And then Space is not going to be much luckier than that, as he immediately gets taken out of his mech. And fine, I think we have a new comp we haven't seen before. Fate once again in trouble, needs to run away in Birdring, so you're just gonna back off here. So this is a little bit like 6-0 dive. So normally dive, you have some sort of backline itself with like a Mercy and a Zenyatta, and then you need some way to actually protect the Zenyatta itself. But this is basically 6-0 dive rush, kind of like that, and that they just want to speed onto their opponents, stun to make sure that they actually can't do much about it, and then just take them out in short order. Bedosin with a nice whip shot onto Agilities takes him out. Fate trying to get them off of this little kill box here and force them onto the point so that the rest of the team can get through, but I'm not sure how successful he's going to be there. In the fact that anytime you have like a 6-0 dive in this situation, you want to engage them in areas where they can't really retreat, and you're running heroes on your team that can't easily take the high ground in the form of Tracer, Soldier, and Reaper. None of them can take high ground easily. So you see these two kind of entrances on the left and the right side from the perspective of Fury right here. And what the London Spitfire want to do is catch the Los Angeles Valiant in one of these kill boxes so that they can't avoid, and the London Spitfire get to play to their strengths. Kareev, however, manages to take out Birdring the Pulse Bomb, and Fate is super low. He does exit Primal. He's trying to get healed up by Custa, but Custa also pulls out the pistol to force Fury off the high ground. The visor comes out, but between a rocket and Space, Fury gets dropped immediately here. Gesture picking up too. The Primal's coming out from Agilities, however, between Nuss and the Primal from Gesture, it's going to be enough to take him out here. Prophet wins the 1v1 against Kareev, not overly surprisingly, and then Space gets demeched and taken out by Gesture immediately. So a little bit of shades of Korean contenders, shades of the Gladiators Legion, and not a composition that we have seen a lot of. So this is a combination of like Tank Rush and Goats. It's a low ground dive rush composition with the DPS, and it's just a horrendous amount of damage coming at you extremely quickly. What a fantastic kill from Prophet onto Agilities there. However, I was surprised to see 3 hit scans as the DPS selection of the London Spitfire, because one of the benefits of running a hero like the Doomfist when you are playing this very rushy composition is the fact that Doomfist's abilities can also go through both barriers and defense matrix, whereas D.Va's defense matrix blocks all 3 of the DPS. It didn't actually appear to have an impact there, but one of the benefits of running kind of like a 6-0 dive in alternative formats is the fact that D.Va and Winston, their barriers and their defense matrix actually does nothing to protect themselves or their team against the incoming damage. An actual, like, if, for example, a D.Va is discorded and you have something like a Doomfist, a Winston, and a Brigida smashing on the D.Va, then, they're going to take that damage regardless of the actual defense matrix. But if the Brig stuns the D.Va, then for one full second, that defense matrix can't be active and should be enough for the D.Va actually to get 600 to 0 between the damage of the Reaper and all other sources. Okay, Now paying attention to the actual match here, it looks like the London Spitfire are running the Brigida and the Widowmaker dive, whereas the Los Angeles Valiant are running a Tracer and Pharah. So a little bit of an interesting thing here in the fact that the London Spitfire actually have advantage over both of the DPS in the fact that Birdring can counter agilities, can theoretically. However, this is a great map for Pharah because it's extremely difficult for Birdring to find those angles, whereas Prophet can counter Soon, but that's, again, in theory, if Soon actually gets anywhere near to Prophet, Soon being the much more maneuverable target. So on paper, of course, Los Angeles Valiant running the composition that is theoretically countered, but despite saying that, they are up 45% on the London Spitfire here. Okay, and agilities, you can see him kind of operating inside of the point here. No swaps yet for the London Spitfire, and Prophet is going to be trying his best to stay alive against the Pharah. That's the one thing, is that Prophet does counter Soon, but 100% does not counter agilities. So agility is going to be putting a lot of pressure on Prophet and going to make it very difficult for him to get anywhere close to opposing tanks while staying alive. Agility is just bumping away. He is out of abilities and out of play here, with Birdring finally finding that angle from main. Gesture picking up one. Birdring managed to stay alive against Fate's Primal as he comes back down, and London Spitfire should be able to actually take control of this point finally. Still trying to just build as much charge as he can here. And with this capture being taken, now Birdring can select the sightlines instead of agilities forcing sightlines, which means that they might stay on the barrage or stay on the Pharah because they have barrage. But if this barrage doesn't work out, which I suspect it won't, we'll see swaps from the Los Angeles Valiant. Never mind, they aren't even going to risk it. Very smart play. The even smarter play here is they're pulling a strategy that London Spitfire did against them on Lijiang Control Center, in the fact that they know that they only need to win one fight. So they're going for goats, knowing that the London Spitfire they have nothing that can actually stop them. They have no Pharah or high projectile damage that can actually stop this goat's composition. So knowing they only need to win one fight, this goat swap is an absolutely fantastic decision. Whoever made this call, maybe it was planned, great call regardless. Custa taking out Gesture. Things are slowly starting to move in favor of the Los Angeles Valiant here, as well as their ultimates, including the Rally is about to come online. It comes online, but Kareev so close to that Coalescence gets taken out, but it's not going to matter as the DMAC comes out from Fury. They're just going to be able to take... Gesture's back, though, and is he at Primal? He is at Primal. They could use that... the stun from Brigida in order to take him out, but unfortunately, Bedosin's right-click finds words are hard, agilities right before he was going to stun Gesture and prevent that Primal. So not only are they not going to take this capture, but Gesture didn't have to invest his Primal in order to stay alive against the Brigida because of Bedosin's right-click. So almost that factor would have gone unnoticed to most, but Bedosin's right-click onto agilities prevented agilities from stunning Gesture in order to prevent his Primal activation and completely turning that fight around, and started moving things back in favor of the London Spitfire. So great play from Bedosin there. Going all the way onto the high ground. This isn't exactly what the Los Angeles Valiant wanted, but they're going to take it. And Gesture does have his Primal, which makes this play a lot more dangerous, and I'm actually surprised that they were able to survive. There comes... Oh, and Fury didn't eat it! The Coalescence is out. The bomb is out. That's going to be disastrous. Nuss gets taken out. Prophet manages to shield it. It does break his shield, which is going to take him out of commission for a couple of seconds here. But there's no other deaths coming out yet. Kareev is alive still, just barely, as the Rally is out from Prophet, and Fury still has his bomb if necessary, but still no tanks down. And Agilities dies once more. Space is about to be demeched. Hammer comes out, but so does a lot of visual effects going on here. Overtime is ticking down. Fate's got to be on the point to contest, but that's going to put him right into the waiting arms of Prophet, who takes him out and then shield bashes Kareev as well. So Prophet absolutely a dominating performance compared to Agilities, who really struggled on that Brigida. And the Los Angeles Valiant, despite swapping to the Goats composition to try and just win one fight, it doesn't work out, and they actually end up throwing based on what I had considered a very good tactical decision, but it bit them in the ass. It didn't work out. Some great ultimate usage, and as well as some lucky factors, some clutch shots from people like Bedosin and Prophet end up taking Oasis. That was a pretty fun game. Oasis, that was Oasis is definitely going to deserve a much deeper analysis. Spitfire with the speed boost out the door for this composition. Not sure how much of an advantage that's actually going to give them. Running the double Spammerino with the triple tank here. The Los Angeles Valiant actually matching this. So we're actually having a mirror comp between the Hans. It's okay, Prophet. We won't tell anyone. Nobody saw that concussion. No one. Fate goes airborne with the help of his Fortify and the opposing hook. And Agility's got a little bit of height problem here. Oh, he does manage to land the doubler. Onto Prophet, takes him out, and Birdring finds two. Nuss brings Prophet back up. That's putting Valiant on the back foot here. Just walking it in, kind of trying to control both sides of the tower here. The halt is out. No hook to follow up on, but Fate's shield is down, and now his Fortify is out as well. And Bedosin trying to pressure that little mini room. Takes a ton of damage here. Does manage to stay alive as Fate takes out Nuss. What a... Oh, goodness. The halt and hook onto Fate. He's already used his Fortify. Does just come off cooldown right in time. Prophet takes out soon, and then Fury answers back on Fate's kill with a kill onto Mercy of Custa. So there's still some respawns happening. Agilities is moving back to pick up his Mercy. And they're all kind of backing off the point, just making sure they don't get spam dart or any chip damage more than necessary while they are retrieving Custa from the spawn room. There he is. He's back here. Kariv still lurking around the left side. Prophet takes two Agilities, finds the second double direct in a row, comes down immediately for the barrage, trying to follow it up, and Fury ain't having none of that shit. Takes him out with the defense matrix and the boost. Nuss brings Prophet back up, and then Bedosin with the supercharged whole hog just burns through Fate's shield, and then Fate himself. Space gets hooked. He's dicked, apparently. Demeched is what I meant to say. Immediately taken out there, and then a barrage of Prophet finds one, and he does actually manage to stay alive here. Bedosin once again taking care of Custa. Agility's one rocket health remaining up in the sky, just being chipped down, but there's not much he can do to solo recontest the point itself. Looks like the London Spitfire are heading back to the spawn room immediately to swap their compositions here. Kariv took out Birdring at the price of his own life. Kariv has been doing a lot of flexing, but certainly has not been as successful as individuals like Hotpa. And here's a very, very aggressive hold from the Los Angeles Valiant. This position is extremely aggressive, not only because of its forward location, but because it actually doesn't have... Oh, boy! Yeah, Kariv really struggling on these DPS flex. My words are slurring. DPS flex picks when he is playing them compared to his counterparts and whatnot. Fate immediately being very aggressive with that Fortify, but he's going to be taken out and just feeds Prophet ult charge for the effort. And yeah, that was a very aggressive position. And with the Orisa, if they do take the fight to Castle, Fate can't actually assist with that. So I question the logic of the position of that composition, other than maybe buying some time at the cost of ultimate charge here. But Los Angeles Valiant have swapped things up here. They're moving on to the solo support dive. No, well, Brigida's more really an off-tank anyway, but they are playing the Brigida Widowmaker dive on the defense here, but Kariv's still on that Tracer instead of the Zenyatta. Very interesting choice here. London Spitfire playing the triple DPS dive themselves, also without the Zenyatta. A little bit interesting. You're both teams playing solo support dive, but different variants thereof. Prophet finds only one with his blade, and it is going to be Space after doing a lot of damage to the mech itself, and escapes at very low health. Gets healed back up. Custa runs his Space back in, but his life is not going to be for long. And then Bedosin finds a huge pulse onto Custa and Agilities. That's incredible value there, and is going to be the last straw required in order for London Spitfire to take the second point. Agilities is like, oh no! Okay, moving into third here. It'll be interesting to see if the teams decide to stay on dive here. It looks like the Los Angeles Valiant have already moved on to the composition that we saw last time with the Junkrat on the Hanzo, as well as the 3 tanks from the Valiant, and still that solo support. Zenyatta just not getting a lot of love in this meta here. The London Spitfire, however, do have the Zenyatta now. Bedosin, after landing that point-winning pulse bomb, has decided to swap onto that Zenyatta there. And Prophet taking out Gesture, giving the London Spitfire another opening here. Gesture popping his Primal, but not getting a lot of value out of that, immediately jumping into the actual trap itself. He is going to find soon, though, just as the Primal wears out. Agility's no dash here is going to be easy picking for Gesture, and Gesture, all he has to do is kind of create this zone of guaranteed cleave if anybody tries to contest this point. Custa flying all across the map, trying to get away, pulls out the pistol in a futile effort to stay alive against Gesture, and Prophet's Riptire is going to be all it really takes for the point to be captured. And London Spitfire, you know, the first point we saw, I suppose, glimpses of resistance, but the Los Angeles Valiant not showing to be the team that we expected. A 9-1 record in Stage 4, but not seeing those same glimpses of brilliance that we did in these playoffs here. London Spitfire looking fantastic. Is that because the London Spitfire have gotten better, or because the Los Angeles Valiant have gotten worse? Honestly, from watching this, Valiant seem to have gotten worse. Yee. Markrod, Squid, Doom, and APX all with the Prime subs, as well as Rex Olmar with the 200 bits, says PogChamp, London versus New York. I hope so. That'd be fun. Even London versus Fusion would be great. I definitely think that Kariv and Custa have been weak points for the Los Angeles Valiant. I said that last series. I'll say it again. Kariv has not had as much success flexing onto these other heroes, which has been so key in this newer meta that has evolved out of seemingly nowhere. Came despite no patch changes that would imply this to be the case. So Bedosin and Hotba both having extreme success on these flex picks, whereas Kariv has not had similar success despite his notoriety as being an extremely proficient DPS player, notably Widowmaker. Anyway, defense here from the London Spitfire. What are you doing, you cheeky bastard, Bedosin? He's on the edge there. Maybe as a, I don't know. Interesting placement. But anyway, so London Spitfire still rolling out with that same composition on the defense that they did on attack, whereas the Los Angeles Valiant running a variant of it with Widowmaker instead of Hanzo. That is going to allow the Los Angeles Valiant to put a little bit more pressure onto Prophet here, but Prophet will likely be playing really defensive around that tower, where Soon is not going to be able to find very many angles on him, and then the Hanzo of Birdring is going to be applying a lot more just generic damage, especially a damage-boosted Storm Arrow can completely decimate an Orisa shield, and the combo of agilities, concussion mining Birdring directly into a rocket is going to take Birdring out, but then between Fury and Bedosin, agilities pays for his crimes against the Hanzos. Birdring answers back, and then Prophet finds one more against Custa, completely stonewalling that attack from the Los Angeles Valiant. Kareev's still in this backline here. He's going to get the DMAC on Fury. Hey, Kareev gets a very nice DMAC there. Oh, oof, oof. I thought he died there, but no, it was just a rocket and a recall there. Okay. So Kareev's still in the backline. Fury actually swapping to the win. Oh, Fury went all the way back to spawn in order to swap and get back onto Winston, which means that this fight is actually a 5v6 until Fury gets back. The hook did land onto Bedosin, but wasn't enough to kill. You know, they don't have that Discord. It's very hard to burn through a Roadhog if he does manage to enter his take a breather form after the hook. Gesture really low. The defense matrix from Fury catches 2 rockets of agilities, is going to be the sole reason that Gesture stays alive here, but Barrage is coming up. That being said, Barrage and Dragon also coming up for the side of London Spitfire, but Custa taking out Prophet in mid-air with the assistance of his Valkyrie is going to make sure that Barrage from Prophet can't be used, and then agilities with the Barrage just putting in a lot of suppressing fire, more or less, as Kareev manages to kill his Fury's mech with the Barrage. Who knew that Tracer had that ability in her kit? That's quite impressive for a Tracer. You know, I was doubting Kareev at first, but you know, using that Barrage from Tracer, managing to DMAC Fury, and we are finally going to get to play the second point here. Jester already used quite a few cooldowns. He's going to be pressured pretty hard by agilities. He's in no man's land. He does have one more jump, but is he going to be able to get back to safety? It does look like he is, but that's still going to allow Los Angeles Valiant to get so much control of this map, which can be very critical in the opening phases of second point Eichenwald. Jester once again going extremely aggressive, still at half health there. Birdring getting pressured by Kariv there. Birdring, I don't think anyone can assist him, although Nuss is going back for him. And now Badosin is chasing. He's low on cooldown, and I don't think it's Badosin. Yeah! What a kill from Badosin. That was fantastic. They're not two people you expect to see dueling on Tracer in the first way. Badosin taking out the supercharger with his bomb there. Space just retreating here. He knows that Prophet is taken out soon, and Birdring found too, but the reset was happening anyway. So are we going to see a swap off of the Pharah? Likely here, especially with Birdring having now map control on Castle. It can be extremely difficult for agilities to cross that immediate kind of like threshold between first and second and start getting value, unless they can kind of dive in. What crazy shots from Birdring! Those were very impressive flicks here. And agilities, smart man has swapped onto the Pharah and onto the Genji here. Again, onto the triple DPS dive here. Once again, Kariv sticking on that Tracer. Just doesn't look like Zenyatta seems to be played nearly as much. I won't think too deeply on the issue, but maybe a video in the future is worth it. Soon finds two, one onto Jester and the other onto Noose as the crowd goes soon. Custarez is soon back up so that he can continue popping heads as Fury took him out. And there is going to be at least one recontest here before we reach the end of second, as Prophet has swapped off of the Pharah and onto the Brigida for the final contest, which is, of course, going to be an extremely effective pick against both the Tracer of Kariv and agilities on that Genji there. Not sure if that Pulse Bomb is going to find anyone. It isn't, but yeah, Los Angeles Valiant Jester popping that Primal at the last moment here. Kariv in trouble. He's going to have to take himself out of the fight quite a significant period of time in order to grab that mini health back. As soon as running away, his retreat is assisted so kindly by Jester's Primal, punching him halfway across the map. And Badosin, he's back onto that Zen. He's back onto that Zen. Birdring on that Widow. He's been absolutely fantastic. Babyface Birdring. What a funny name there. But agility's remaining on this Genji with his blade once again against a Brigida. If history has anything to say for it, this is not going to end well for agilities. Soon ends up with the kill onto Badosin, but that's rezzed back up, so they're still in it to win it. Birdring finds one. Is he going to blade here? Prophet's so low, but he really doesn't want to play this game. Or does he? No, he doesn't. Custarez his fate back up. Agility's still with that blade, looking for an opportunity to do it, but he can't really do it while Prophet is alive. But now, he's not alive. Problem fucking solved. Nuss is in Valkyrie, but are they going to be able to recontest here? They're not. An unfortunate activation from Nuss there. Going to put them pretty far behind, as I would expect the London Spitfire to be heading all the way back to spawn in order to swap things up as quickly as possible. Will they keep the Brigida? She's almost at rally. I don't think it's going to be worth it, though. We'll likely see Prophet swapping onto the Hanzo is what I would expect. Nope, they are going to stay at least one fight on this composition. Bit of a transitional composition coming out from the London Spitfire, maybe wanting to get themselves just a little bit of a rip tire for free. But Badosin elected to die with Transcendence instead of wasting it there, so they are going to actually... This definitely looked purposeful. This looked like it was a purposeful decision to lose because they were on a transitional composition anyway. The May swap from Birdring, certainly not what I had expected here. And then off Brig, back onto Brig. So Birdring on the May, very interesting choice here. Not exactly sure why. Fury has the bomb back up and Badosin has Transcendence. Valkyrie coming out from Custa is going to prompt this fight to start out really quickly. I would expect the Trance to come out. Jester's dead, though. So they use the Transcendence, and they use the Transcendence in order to cover the Resurrect onto Gesture. And now Badosin has exited... Fate is in trouble. There's the sun, but he's got Primal to stay alive, and Birdring is trying to do his best to freeze Fate, but he's going to force him back off and not actually get the kill. Fury gets demeched, and here comes the blade from Agility. He's trying to finish things up as they're going to push things into the payload. And you know what? Maybe that's why May isn't played. Certainly wasn't that successful. But yeah, less than a minute. So it is going to be about a minute and a half advantage for the London Spitfire going into. But we are going to be doing extra rounds on Eichenwald, of course, if London Spitfire does end up angry angry spectator lady is very jazzed. Chill. Sit, please. It's okay. It's okay. Things will be okay. But we are going into extra time. We are going into extra time. Oh. Angry lady is angry. God, did you see how slick that wall climb cancel was? Whew. Your team kept 1 point, and now they need to win 6 maps in a row. I don't have much faith, lady, no matter how much you try and convince me. That's good. That is good. It's the little things. It's the little things. You gotta appreciate the little things in life, the tiny victories, because if you're the Los Angeles Valiant, those tiny victories are the only victories you have. Okay, the Valiant rolling out again with triple DPS, not triple tank, but with their solo healer, of course, that Custa on the Mercy here. Agility is going to be contending against the triple tank defense, not the triple DPS. I actually can't remember if the Valiant rolled out on the very first attack with Kareev on the Tracer or the Roadhog. For some reason, anyway, enough of that. Space does manage to pick up Bidossin. That's going to be really big on this attack here, and it doesn't look like the Valiant are going to be full held. 20 seconds later, both Fury and Gesture really low here as Kareev manages to get the finishing blows just to make it look like he's participating, and Agilities does the same in order to Fury. Birdring takes out Soon with that Storm Arrow, very skillful ability, but custorizes him up, so Birdring with the token effort, but we're going to see overtime come through on Streets phase. Are we going to see any swaps from the Valiant? We are immediately moving over to the triple DPS with the Widowmaker, the Pharah, and the Tracer, but we're off of that Orisa and the Diva and onto the dive tanks here. London Spitfire don't really have the opportunity to swap onto the Widowmaker unless Birdring dies here. He got down below 20 HP, but he was healed back up. Now Gesture getting low, and I'm not sure where. Soon with the body shot just to finish him off there. 1, 2. Oh, right as Agilities was about to launch his second rocket, Prophet takes him out there. And Fate is putting a lot of pressure on Custa, Nuss gets taken out. I got that backwards. It was just Gesture who went deep to try and find Nuss, and they're just going crazy here. Birdring's looking for a kill onto Custa. Custa's 1 HP. Is he going to be able to survive? No, he's not, as Prophet finds a kill onto him. Kareev finds 2. This time, those kills were absolutely deserved, and Agility's coming in with the barrage one last time, but it doesn't find enough damage onto Bidossin, and he gets taken out, and that is the bar to match just past the doors on second. If you have ever played Eichenwald, you know this is one of the most hair-raising locations to try and defend and try and push through. This location is a nightmare for both teams. There are so many factors, there are so many tiny choke points and odd positionings that this location forces out of both teams that if first point is capped, which I suspect it will be by the London Spitfire, we are going to see some shit when the fight for that point happens on second. Get ready. Get ready for Valiant to fight for their lives here. Okay. Whew. 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 You ready, chat? You ready, chat? I hope you're ready. Incoming Anna. This isn't New York. London is not New York. Hi, chat. Okay. 5 seconds to see if the Los Angeles Valiant are going to stay in it to win it. London Spitfire, unironically, nope, just kidding. They are going to be rolling out on the Mercy. They were just showing the Ana, doing their best New York impression here. Early shield, it's going to be dropped down right as they're going to be pushing in here. Jester shield down, that's going to be forcing them to immediately look to spam damage into that choke, giving Jester the second shield, allowing them to advance here. They're still running that same composition from the Valiant, except they are running the Hog, not the Tracer like they did on their attack. And Birdring finds Fate, and then Bdosin finds Soon. So Los Angeles Valiant absolutely crumpling like wet tissue paper here. Kariv hooks a wall, doesn't really find much. He's being healed up, but it's just going to be a delay in time as there's really only Kariv's Space and Custa left alone. Custa does res Kariv back up, but Space gets hooked and he's immediately going to get bursted down. So it's going to be just 2 minutes of hold unless they try and stall this for as long as they can. Oh, they are going to drop Jester and Fury's mech with the assistance of Custa pocketing Fate. Are they actually going to get this recontest? Probably not after Bdosin's whole hog takes out Custa and Fury manages to melt Fate here. 1 HP soon in the building isn't going to be enough. And whoa, Kariv with the counter shot does take out Bdosin. So far they've bought 20 seconds off the clock. Are they going to be able to buy any more? Doesn't look like it. So there are going to be 2 shit spawns from the Los Angeles Valiant on the side of Kariv and Agilities. Kariv already swapping off that Hog and going on to Tracer. Agilities, are you going to elect to stay onto that barrage? Probably, because in the location where we are going to be pushing the card into overtime, the barrage has a lot of really, really safe angles. Kariv and Fate already trying to take control, but no! The damage boosted body shot from Birdring is enough to 100 Kariv, and then Fury takes out Soon. This is absolutely disastrous. Are there any ultimates from the Los Angeles Valiant that they can actually use to stay in this? I don't think there is. Dragon comes out from Prophet is split, and it takes out Fate's. Agilities is one. Space is one as well. He's out of the mech, and there's no way that just Kariv and Baby Space are going to be able to take this. And they're falling apart at the seams. There's a Dragon from SWAT. Is it going to catch Noose? It does catch Nuss, but is that going to be enough? Kariv is on the payload. He's just fighting for his life to try and contest, but he gets taken out. And the bomb for insurance. My goodness. It's over. 3-0. London Spitfire take him out in one of the cleanest matchups we've seen. And we're going to see the Spitfire advance to the finals. Next question, is it going to be New York or is it going to be Philly? Going to be Spitfire or is it going to be Philly? It definitely looked like Valiant were outclassed, though. Holy moly. Spitfire, well-deserved. Valiant struggled. Valiant did struggle. So Kariv struggled. Gusta's survivability struggled. You know, survivability in these solo healer compositions is certainly lower than it is in other compositions where there are more resources invested into keeping the Mercy alive. But still, Agilities and Prophet both played extremely well. Bdosin played extremely well. Fate played very well. Space we didn't see show up as much. But of course, Jester and Fury, also huge performers. I still feel like Fate, were the Valiant playing better, would have looked better. But, you know, you cannot deny that Jester, one of the best tanks, and Jester and Fury, one of the better tank duos in the league.